So much to cover. This intro is going to be short. Collector Heart 02 plus insight into a 3.5-hour discussion I had with Mr. Banx himself. Next. Mr. Banx and I talked to each other last night for about 3.5 hours. That's longer than I spoke to my wife and both kids combined yesterday. That's an eternity. I don't talk to anyone for that long. Mr. Banx made the time. And you know what? We had a fantastic conversation. I can't wait to reveal all. Not all. Some of it. And we're going to talk about it. But first, you know what he did after that? I barely got some sleep. I'm replaying the conversation. I'm thinking about if there's any Easter eggs and the things he was talking about and just replaying the whole conversation in the mind. And then I wake up, and then what's here? Collector at Heart 02. Look at this beauty. Collector at Heart 02. And it's like he can't even let me sit and process and digest the conversation. I didn't get much sleep last night. Kid kept waking me up in the middle of the night. I'm like, I'm trying to dream about Piggybanx. And no time for it. And then he's like, hey, how about Porsche? You like 911s, Kurt? Bam! Take that to the face. Collector Heart 02. Stabbed right here. And keep in mind, this is right on the heels of Ronaldo Crown. Like, we've talked before that Piggybanx pieces, any one of them potentially could be a lifetime achievement piece for some artists. Look at these, what will likely be 2 consecutive back-to-back drops. Collector at Heart 02, which people are literally losing their minds on over online, and Ronaldo Crown. People are already jockeying for position. I can't tell you how many messages I've received or messages I've seen online where people are like, let me tell you who should get the crowns and who shouldn't get the crowns and who should get the Collector at Heart and who shouldn't get Collector at Heart. It's like I picture riots in the streets. Peaceful riots, of course, but riots nonetheless. Nobody's stealing Best Buy TVs, but people are pushing each other out of the way trying to get to the front of the line. They're doing it somewhat respectfully. Not really a shove, like a gentle nudge, kind of like push through a crowd to get to the front, to get a view, maybe Macy's Day Parade style. Like no one's throwing punches at a Macy's Day Parade. They're just kind of shimmying their way to the front so they can see an oversized balloon go down the street. That's what's happening here. I see people shimmying to the front for Collector at Heart 02 and Ronaldo Crown. But guess what? Guess what's at play? Equal? Which one are you going to go for? You going to hit them both? I don't know. You'd be pretty lucky. It could happen. It could definitely happen. But what are you going to go for? I think this is intentional by Piggybanx. I think he's taking back-to-back heaters. Now, not to say, again, the draft pick Prince wasn't a heater. Do I think it's on the same magnitude as Collector at Heart and a Ronaldo Crown? I don't personally. Maybe someone else did. You could have broken up these drops. You have enough pieces. Don't Care Bear jumping off a building. That could go in between. I love that little guy still. But no, he's like back to back. You make the choice. He's putting the ball in your court. What's your play, Collector? You going for crowns? You going for a Collector at Heart? You going for both? You greedy? You a flipper? You a Collector at Heart? Crown hunting? What are you doing? What's your play? I kind of like the move. I respect it. You want to know why? Because I'm still convinced Piggybanx wants pieces in Forever Homes. I've said it before. I'm convinced he wants pieces in Forever Homes. That's why I think he was raising the price of the Ronaldo Crown. Go watch the last episode I put out. I think that's why he's raising the price of the crown. That increases the odds and decreases the likelihood people are going to submit if they don't want it. I still think it's not going to cut it all out, but it increases the chance that people that really want it are going to go for it, and it has a better likelihood of landing in a Forever Home. I think that's why he's also putting these back to back. I think Mr. Banx is a couple steps ahead. And before we get to why I now know he's a couple steps ahead, I'm a big speculator. I've told you I didn't know him from anyone. Well, now I know him, 3.5 hours worth of him. And now I know him a little bit. Well, let's talk about the piece first. Look at this piece. Look at the variations. Come on. When you put the stripe down the middle, Piggybanx, you throw me for a loop. I want all the pieces. I've said before, I'll take any variation. Do I want a PMG? Always, always, always. Do I want a color label? Secondly, always, always, always. Do I want the stripe down the middle? Yes. Look at that piece. Now, of course, if you look at Collector Heart 01, down at the bottom where it says Collector at Heart and has the Piggybanx logo, that's what Collector Heart 01 has. At least that's the variation I got, has that on the bottom. The stripe doesn't have the words. I still prefer the stripe. I don't know anyone else. That orange, the orange label, I mean, I'm trying to catch my breath still from the Ronaldo crown. I'm not over it yet, okay? I didn't want to make this video today. I didn't expect Collector Heart 02 to come out. And like I said, I'm still tired and worn out. But, the stripe, the color label, Piggybanx. What is everyone going to do here? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. You going for a Collector at Heart, or you going for the crown? Now I know I'm going to get 475 DMs about this. This community, I don't know what it is. They still prefer DM over comments. Put it in the comments. Tell me what you're going for. What's your favorite variation here? Because I got to tell you, they're all bangers. I like the color label myself. And then I like the blue stripe second. And they're just fire. The artistry on this, and again, just the heart play and the Collector Heart, I'm going to love them all. I'm going to love them all. No matter what comes in this set, I'm going to like. And one could have assumed you're going to go, like I said, shoes, cars, watches. There are some obvious plays. I'm curious how deep this set's going to go and what's going to come, but I think the Porsche 911 is a great second piece. And like I said, people are just, they're losing. I'm still losing my mind. Look at the piece. All right, fine. We'll talk about the conversation I had with Mr. Banx last night. You didn't want to talk about the piece anymore? I still do. The piece is amazing. I'm going for both. No, I don't know yet. I'm definitely going for Collector at Heart. And Ronaldo crown? I don't know. Okay, fine. Let's talk about the conversation I had with Mr. Banx. 3.5 hours. What do you cover in 3.5 hours? A lot. I mean, you see my interviews. We can cover some ground in like an hour. Multiply that by 3.5. Imagine the ground we covered. We talked about the weather. We talked about the Dodgers. We actually didn't talk about the weather, I don't think. No, we did talk about the Dodgers, though. We did talk about the Dodgers. And they're doing well. They're going to make a run in the playoffs, potentially. Who knows? I mean, you guys want to hear more about that? All right, here's what's my takeaway. Let me summarize for you. Because obviously, I didn't take meeting minutes, and nor am I going to send those out for everyone to read. I didn't even take notes, in fact. Imagine that. No notes, no scripts. We just chatted about the Dodgers. But here was my clear takeaway from that dialogue. And again, this is the first time I've had a conversation with Mr. Banx. And my takeaway were a few things. And let's start with number one. Number one is, if you want to invest in a studio, you want a couple things. You want a studio that has stood the test of time, that has demonstrated consistency and excellence in all ways, that is dedicated and devoted to the customer experience, that is conceptually innovative, and has pushed the limits and will continue to do so in all ways. Now, Piggybanx has always checked those boxes for me, and they are, for anyone who wants to argue, the first to put beautiful art in this form factor, right? That's just the way it is. They are the ones that made this popular. Anyone wants to debate it, I'm happy and open to that debate. Here comes another 12 DMs in my box immediately. It says, I don't know, I knew some guy in Istanbul that did this one day for literally one day. Fine, let's have that conversation. Piggybanx is the one that did it. Piggybanx is the one that put it on the map. And Piggybanx is the one that has demonstrated all of that excellence for years. For years now. And if you look from start to finish, that consistency, the op tempo, the innovation, the expansion, the reaching new heights, all of it is they're proven. How about that? They're proven. So when you look at the stock market, you can invest in the penny stocks, or you could invest in, I don't know, Target or 3M or some of these major corporations that have been around for a long time. You can take high risk, low risk. What's interesting about Piggybanx is they are the most established studio out there. I don't think there's any denying it. So from an investment perspective, I left that conversation convinced, which I already was. I left the conversation convinced that if I were interested in an investment, Piggybanx is the place to put your money. For all the reasons I just mentioned, right? There may be other studios doing a lot of cool things. And I'm not saying that that's not the case. I do a lot of weekly reviews and monthly reviews, and there are a lot of great artists out there. Have they checked all of those boxes in terms of longevity, consistency, conceptual innovation, customer experience, customer quality, all comma, etc. And no, that answer is no. And no one can tell me otherwise. That answer is no. So if you're looking for the safest investment, if you're looking for the investment right now, probably with the most potential upside, Piggybanx is it. All right, that's takeaway one. Takeaway two. Takeaway two is Mr. Banx is playing chess. I've alluded to it before. I thought he was playing chess, and my initial conversation with him confirmed he's playing chess. I think Mr. Banx, and we didn't discuss this overtly, kind of in a way, I think he's thinking 173 steps ahead. Now, I didn't confirm if that's the exact number of steps. Again, somebody's going to quote me here and be like, hey, Kurt, did you count the steps? Was he running or walking? Were they full steps? Were they long strides? I don't know. 173 steps ahead, I think. And I think he spends 19 and a half hours each day. Again, don't know for sure. 19 and a half hours each day thinking about the roadmap of the studio. What does that mean? I think that means the conceptual design. I think that means innovation. I think it means how they're going to improve every experience from top to bottom. How are they going to improve every experience from top to bottom? And we know this about Piggybanx. We know that when you get the package, the box, when you're fortunate enough to get a hit and you open it and you have this incredibly packaged, pristine piece of art, right? That you can instantly wall mount if that's what you want to use the box for. It comes with the cert, it comes with the gloves, it comes with the coin, it comes with the art itself. The case itself looks like it was hand polished, spit shined by someone in the studio. It looks like all of those things have happened, so that when you get it, it's not like you opened a box of cards for the 100th time trying to make your money back at Target, and you finally get a good hit and it has a nasty print liner crease down the middle, right? So you've got this customer experience, you've got quality control, you've got the transaction, you've got all of the ways in which you interact with the studio is precisely intentional. That's what I left understanding. I left understanding that nothing is by chance with the studio. Now, this is a famous business theory. And again, I bore you every once in a while with some theory, but there's one. There's a phrase that says you can succeed by chance or succeed by design. Now, being a business guy myself, I like to believe I like to succeed by design. Anyone can be successful at times by chance. I think Piggybanx succeeds by design. Now, what I mean by that is if you were to walk into Ritz-Carlton Hotel anywhere around the world, you get a certain type of service. Now, why is that the case? What makes Ritz-Carlton different? And here's some insider information about Ritz-Carlton that you didn't ask for, but I'm going to tie it together to Piggybanx in just a second. Every single day at Ritz-Carlton, they hold a meeting worldwide, and they have principles. It might be a principle of the week, and the principle of the week might be, let's take the customer by hand to show them things that they ask for. So if you go to the front desk at a Ritz-Carlton, for those Ritz lovers out there, next time you go to Ritz-Carlton, try this out. Say, excuse me, at the front desk, where's the restroom? Now you can handle that in two ways if you're receiving that question. You can say, it's down the hall, first left, make your second right, and it'll be your third door on the left. That's one way. That's how 99.9% of hotels in the world do it. How do they do it at Ritz-Carlton? They walk their little happy ass from around the desk and they say, let me show you to the restroom. That's one of their core principles, customer service. That is succeeding by design. They're very intentional with what they do to the minute details. The minute details. Those things don't just happen by chance. You don't happen to hire someone and put them at the front desk and they happen to think to walk the guest to the restroom. No. They succeed by design. How do high school sports dynasties exist? How is that possible where if you get athletes from only a small geographic region that you can win 10 state championships in a row? How does that happen? Imagine if you were running a business and I said you can only hire someone within a 10-mile radius. How about that, right? Forget all your headhunters, forget monster.com, forget Indeed, and forget all these websites. You can only hire someone from that city, 10-mile radius, and you need to turn over your employees every 4 years. Could you be successful running a business? How do high school dynasties exist? Why? Because it's a system in place. You can pull out a person and put in someone else. It's a system. It's succeeding by design, not by chance. This is what I'm convinced, after leaving the conversation with Piggybanx, is happening. This is what I'm convinced is happening at the studio. Everything is by design, not by chance. Now think about that, right? You think about what's happening in this space. You think about anybody. You think about Panini. You think about Topps in the sports card industry. And are they doing it intentionally by design or by chance? Are they pumping out products as rapidly as they can to grab profit? Well, Panini certainly is, since they're about to lose their license. They're throwing out products left and right, just pumping it out. Quality controls. There is no QC anymore. It's just out the door. Get it out the door. What about other artists, right? Are they succeeding by design, or are they taking some chances? They're trying to find their way in this, right? Where are they on their curve, their learning curve, their trajectory, their growth path? Where are they? Let me tell you where Piggybanx is. Piggybanx has done all of these things already. Like, he's over the hill. He's over the hill. That doesn't mean he's old. He's over the hill. And he is succeeding by design because they have worked out all the minute details along the way. And they're going to continue to do so. They're going to continue to do so. Whether it be from packaging to design to innovation to customer experience, all of those things. I feel like they're under a microscope constantly. And like any good business, there's always room for improvement. And I like the fact that they're going to change whatever needs to be changed. That's the sense I get. If they ever get the sense that something needs to change, can we enhance walking that customer to the restroom at Ritz-Carlton? If we can make that experience better, we're going to make it better. We're not going to sit on our laurels and say that's the process to end all processes for customer service. No, I think they're going to continue to push the limits. I think he spends 19 and a half hours a day thinking about how to succeed by design, not by chance. Now, again, if I'm an investor in the space, does that give me comfort? Sure does. Sure does. I also think he's thinking big. I think he's thinking big. I think he's thinking small. I think he's thinking everything in between. I think he has a broad vision on what he wants the studio to be 20 years from now. And I don't think he's going to let up for the next 20 years. I don't know, and I haven't had a 3.5-hour conversation with all artists, but I don't know if anyone else is looking 20 years ahead. I wonder what I would do in 20 years from now. Maybe I haven't even thought about it. Who's thought about it? You thought about it? 20 years. What do you want someone to think about when they look back on your art or your studio? I don't think he knows the precise answer to that because it's a long time. But I think he has a roadmap, like a general, he's directionally correct. Directionally correct. He directionally knows where he wants to be, and he has a deliberate strategy and is understanding that he needs to respond to some emergent strategies along the way. That's what you want. That's what you want in the leader of a company or a studio or otherwise. Now, again, I could belabor the point that yes, he was first mover advantage. He's first to market. Yes, I could belabor the point that the artistry is second to none. I could belabor the point that the customer experience is second to none. I could belabor the point that the concepts and innovation are second to none. I could belabor the point that there have been a lot of imitators along the way. I could belabor these points. I frankly don't care about any of them. I don't care about any of them. What I care about is what are you going to do tomorrow? That's what I care about. I care about constant innovation. I care about constant focus and relentless pursuit of customer experience and satisfaction. I care very much about is the company thinking about growing their base? Is the company thinking about doing what it needs to protect collectors' investments or get pieces to collectors that love them and just want them as family heirlooms or for display purposes? And I left that conversation 100% certain that the studio is committed to the customer experience. They're committed to innovation. They're committed to longevity. They're committed to everything that you would want them to be committed to. I left there with zero doubt in my mind of all of those things. And I see the community responding in various ways to I think what they want the environment to be and artists that they support or don't support. Here's what I think. I think all of it is noise in the community. What I learned yesterday from Mr. Banx himself is nothing's gonna stop the studio. Okay? Nothing's gonna stop the studio. Whether someone likes, I don't know, artist A or artist B and they like Piggybanx or they don't or whatever the case might be, Piggybanx is focused on Piggybanx. And Piggybanx is focused on Piggybanx customers, both past, present, and future. And that's all I needed to hear from the studio. And I heard it. And I heard it multiple times in multiple different ways. That if you're able to understand and keep a pulse on your customer base and understand certain data and metrics around and have a pulse of the general landscape, which they do, but the noise of the others and the perceived competition or lack thereof, or the case might be, is the studio is so driven. They are mindful of everything while also having blinders on their roadmap. It's like the perfect combination of all things. It's what I want to see. It's what I wanted to hear. And I heard it. I also wanted to understand the drive. I think I asked Mr. Banx directly. I said, what drives you? What's driving you right now? You already have been a first mover. You've already been here for a couple of years. You've kind of been goaded by 99.999% of the community, if not 100%. Like you're there. You're probably making decent money. You're probably doing all sorts of fun things. You've got a great job. You got a great life. Like what's going to keep you going for 20 years? What's going to keep you going for 20 years? Now, again, you take what you will from it. My background involved, as I told you some previously, I was forced to read some people, and I made a read in that moment. But the way he responded made me very confident in my read. I think he is just intrinsically self-motivated. Mr. Banx, I've said before on weekly reviews, there are certain studios on a mission. Well, I've never had the luxury of talking to Mr. Banx. I think he's shooting, I don't even want to say for the stars. Like this guy's in a different galaxy. I think he's pursuing going to a different galaxy. Forget Mars. Like, he doesn't want to go live on Mars. He wants to go find or build or exist in a new galaxy. This guy, when you talk about the vision, it's like, what? It's wild and feasible. And there's no reason to believe his self-determination is not going to get there. I have full confidence he will. He is just laser focused. Now, again, it's not about the day-to-day details and like, well, this drop's going to change their trajectory. No, it's the roadmap. It's the roadmap of the company. It's we will succeed by design, not by chance. And we are going to reinvest the money in the company so that there will be no stopping us. There will be no one that can catch us. There will be no one that can ever overcome what we have built and what we're creating and what we continue to design. I left there believing it. I already did. But there are a few conversations I enter into the world where I walk in with a belief because I try to prepare for conversations. I walk in well-researched and I leave and it's 100% accurate, right? You always learn things. This one, I certainly took away some new things. Of course, 3.5 hours, right? I didn't know the Dodgers pitcher's ERA. Mr. Banx spitting all these Dodger facts and weather updates. And I was like, I didn't know all that. So, of course, I walked away with some new information. And confirmation, more importantly, that what I thought about the studio was true. And I didn't realize the magnitude of it. It is a massive movement. And it's not going to stop. I don't think ever, in perpetuity. Like in 20 years, if you want to own Piggybanx, I remember interviewing Diamond Joe's son. He was like, when I'm 50, if Piggybanx is still around, and I joked, like, they'll still be around. I'm pretty sure after that interview, he's still going to be around. And I don't say that jokingly. I know I just smiled, but it's like the vision of the studio is just, I think it's unrelenting. It's never ending. It's how do you find form and live in a new galaxy? Like, it's going to take a minute. But that whole journey is going to be just a thing of beauty. I encourage anyone that has questions about Piggybanx just to erase them. How's that for a blind leap of faith? Just erase them. I'm all in. I was all in before. But I'm telling you, if you're going to get into this space, you're looking for the safest, you're looking for the most innovative, you're looking for the first mover, you're looking for all of the things, you're looking for the customer experience, and you want to enjoy what is going to be a wild ride to an area never explored before, just like these. These never existed before Piggybanx. They never existed before Piggybanx. I still don't care about your story about the one Bubba in Istanbul. That's a joke. I don't even know if that guy exists. These never existed before. This isn't the end, okay? Next year can bring a whole new world. The following year can bring a whole new world. I also left believing 2026 is going to be better than 2025. 2027 is going to be better than 26. 28 is going to be better than 27, and so on and so forth. That's what I left thinking. I left confident in all of that. So what am I going to do? I'm going to submit for Collector Hardo 2. See you on the other side. Until next time, stay sharp, chase smart.